New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Welcome to Ministers Talking a weekly program where Rev BRZ and Rev Z and their guests chat about current affairs, world events, spiritual principles, and any old they want to talk about. Based on the New Thought philosophy and ancient wisdoms, Ministers Talking shares a visionary perspective of the evolving spiral called spiritual living. Join us each week as we explore the emerging paradigm of life on planet Earth and beyond.
And hello again, dear ones. Welcome to another episode of Ministers Talking Shit. I'm Rev BRZ on this side.
I'm Rev Z on this side.
And we are doing exactly what I said. We're a couple of ministers talking shit. It happens every Friday morning here on the New Thought Media Network, 7 a.m. Mountain Time. And I want to say right up front, Z and I we did some research on your behalf yesterday. Definitely we went to a great lecture on metaphysical teachings. It was told in parables, and it's called Matrix Resurrections. And boom, oh my gosh. So, interestingly enough, we had intended to have the dear Reverend Dr. Raymond Anderson with us as a guest today. Due to some scheduling difficulties, that's had to be pushed off, and we were going to talk about the Matrix. So I guess we'll save that discussion for when Raymond can be with us, because something a little bit more important happened in our home state of Colorado here yesterday. You may have heard about it. It reached the national news level. While we were enjoying ourselves and doing a bit of metaphysical research, the winds picked up and knocked over a power line, which sparked a grass fire. Now, what I want to say is there are a lot of miracles in what we're going to explore here today. But what we do know as of late last night is probably well over 500, maybe as many as 600 or more homes and or businesses have been lost due to this grass fire, this little spark of a grass fire.
Yeah.
So first off, hearts and prayers, all kinds of prayers and all kinds of hearts. And I got a bag of clothing that I'm putting together. I'm going to head up to Boulder County. Now, this is not in the city of Boulder. So if anybody familiar with Boulder, it's not in the city of Boulder. It's actually in the cities of Superior and Louisville, which are a little outside of Boulder. And I'll share a theory I have about part of that a little bit later. So, but want to give you a chance to get in here, Z, and share a little bit as we get started as well.
Yeah. I mean, it was devastating, and it is devastating, because my brother called me, who's in Florida, and a friend of mine in California, and I had no idea because I didn't look at the news cycle. Like you said, after we came out of the movie, I didn't watch anything. I just came home and got busy, with my New Year's stuff. And after I got these calls, I went and looked, and I was shocked. I mean, as we were talking earlier, the Walmart is burnt down, the Target is burnt down. So in addition to people's homes, their jobs have also now been impacted because the couple of stores there that were, I'm sure, major employers are all gone.
Yeah. Target, Costco. There's a number of other, and if you know big box areas, folks, if there's a Costco, there's all kinds of other stores and businesses in that area, and that area is a shopping district for the region. The fire jumped Highway 36, which is in that area, it's 6 lanes at least. three in each direction right there where the fire jumped. So the fire jumped a pretty major highway. And that tells you a little bit about the winds. We were looking at 100. They're not in Boulder itself. In Boulder was 75 miles an hour winds, but in other areas up to 115 mile an hour winds yesterday. And there was nothing really anybody could do about this. Now, one of the things, and we're going to get to the gratitudes, folks, because they're in here. There are some, and we're going to get to the hopes and the prayers in here, and there are some. And what we consider on this program is this is an opportunity for us to look at how new thought can influence the future.
Yeah.
By looking at the news stories of the day and of the week, and or at least one or two of them. And when I first moved to Colorado, I thought it was very strange. I didn't realize the urban planning around Boulder and Boulder County. And part of that is, and I had known that Boulder was, there's a good college there, and it's, high tech, and it's expensive there, and this and that and the other thing. And what I learned over time is Boulder surrounded itself with a green belt, a green space.
Right.
Many miles wide, and it surrounds the whole city. The city's backed up against the mountains. So think about a mountain and a city at the base of the mountains, and then a big semicircle of open land. That's the green belt between Boulder and the rest of the world. And that's what happened yesterday is that green belt, those grasslands are what caught on fire, undeveloped land. And because there was nothing between the fire and the homes, the wind just swept like 100 miles. Think about 40, 50, 60 mile an hour winds carrying fire.
Yeah. Yeah. And the interesting thing about that, being a Florida native, you don't think about hurricane force winds, which that was. You don't think about hurricane force winds in the mountains, right? Coupled with that, we also know that fires, when they get big enough, they create their own weather patterns.
Exactly.
And so now you got 7,500 mile an hour wind, and then now you got a fire that's creating its own weather patterns, and it's just a recipe for disaster. And it's really a time for us locally and globally to begin to look at the effects of global warming, climate change, switching patterns, changing cycles. We can call it whatever we want, but there is evidence abound that across this globe, the patterns of the weather are changing, and we need to pay attention and figure out how can we prevent it or contribute to slowing it down, stopping it, whatever it is. Because it's you just think 3 weeks ago we had massive tornadoes over in Kentucky and Tennessee area.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And I would say there's no denying that this is directly related to the climate change that's happening on our planet. Those grasslands, truthfully, at this time of December, those grasslands should be under a foot or more of snow. This is a natural disaster. I'm going to say that it was preventable. However, it was only preventable by our grandparents. It had to start a couple generations ago to have avoided this. There's no mitigation for something like this. There's no, the only fire protection for something like this is to know where your kids are, know where your important papers are, have an exit strategy. And my wife and I sat down last night and I said, okay, there's the safe, there's my computer, there's the bank of external hard drives. Something happens, those get in a car. Those are the first that, save the important stuff, save your pets, save your family. But some of these people weren't even given that much time, truthfully.
Yeah.
This moved so rapidly through so much open area that it immediately got into a couple of neighborhoods that now no longer exist. And
right. Well, and interesting piece. As I was saying at the top, that I was into my little New Year's routine, so I wasn't kicked in on the news or anything. But as I look around my office right now, and I look at the books and the magazines and the this and the that, and I'm like, if a fire came through here, I'd be devastated. All of my stuff is,
mm-hmm.
and I need to, just first, I guess I need to do inventory. Do I need this stuff anymore? Can I pass some of this stuff on to somebody else? Or if it's that important, find another way to get it or something, because it's obvious. I'm in just one room,
Right.
And we're talking about 600 houses.
Yes.
Potentially have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Saying the number could easily reach 4,500 to 5,000 people displaced and in need of shelter and housing immediately.
Right.
And we're going to face a winter storm today. Now, this is one of those double-edged blessings, folks, because right now there's nothing we need more than a couple feet of snow. And Denver and the Front Range and the front side of the mountains are going to see their first accumulation of snow today, which is going to go a long way to putting out the hot spots, to really keeping this from going further and further and further into the suburbs.
Yeah. Yeah.
If it wasn't for the wind slowing down last night and wet weather coming in today, this thing could burn straight across the state of Colorado. And then we'd be talking about thousands of homes.
Yeah.
So there are some small miracles and all, and we're going to continue to hear those stories of the miracles that happen. We'll make sure that we bring them to you, or bring them to you on the good news on Friday evenings. But for now, what we want to do really is set that for all of us is set a tone for of especially at the holidays right now, gratitude and service. I am feeling so called not only to be grateful for what I have, not just to be grateful for that it didn't get us, not just to be grateful for that we can still sit here and talk about it today, but grateful that that Colorado is what Colorado is, and the people of Colorado will step up and support each other.
Yeah.
So it's gratitude and service. And
on top of that, one of the key things about New Thought or any metaphysical teaching is awareness. We have to become more aware of everything.
Yeah.
We can no longer make excuses about, well, that's not my thing, or that I'm not into that. Or we have to begin to be more aware, because if we're not, we will get isolated and siloed, and then we're going to have more and more decisions being made with limited information or information that seems one way, but in reality is not, because you're not looking at it in a bigger awareness. And we're going to wind up, not that this event had anything necessarily to do about someone's personal awareness, but globally in terms of how we begin to build communities, set up resistance and mitigation plans for national disasters, which are happening more and more. And these kinds of things, we will begin to get into a cycle that is going to be untenable.
Yeah. And let's be clear, folks, we're not even talking about the shooting that happened, less than a mile from your place.
Exactly.
This earlier this week here in Colorado. I think we're seeing an outpicturing of a greater cry for some sort of change.
Yeah.
It's in our it feels like we've become unhinged.
Yeah.
This person on Monday, we're not going to talk about that story. He was unhinged.
Yeah.
It would feel like the climate has become unhinged. Yeah. And it feels like we're living in the apocalyptic movies of the 80s and the 90s. They were telling us this stuff in the 80s and the 90s. So have you seen Don't Look Up on Netflix yet?
I have not. I heard some good things about it, about the comet coming and everything. An asteroid or something.
Yeah, and it's a comet or an asteroid. I haven't heard the whole premise, and we don't like to do spoilers, folks, but I've heard so many good things about it. And I've also heard that originally it was a bomb. It was a flop. Nobody... And what I hear is the biggest thing it points to is our unwillingness to do the hard work to save generations, the future generations.
And in addition to that, it also points out that we got all this science and we're not using it because in real life, not in the Don't Look Up movie, about 2 weeks ago, and there were some people over in Boulder from the science stuff over there that participated in this happening. They shot off a rocket to go up and actually hit a comet or asteroid, I forget which one, at like 1,500 miles an hour to see if they could divert the course of the thing that is coming through the air. So because they know space, they just sent the other telescope in that's going to see, I think it's at 100 miles or 100 times further than Hubble. So they're seeing these rockets. And with the math, they know the trajectory and they know we got the science. We have to start using it. And I'm going to get off my soapbox because I'll go for days on that.
I just flash back to playing asteroids in the 80s. Pew, 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 pew. You all know that sound. You guys all played that game. You know that sound. We're going to have to start playing asteroids, I guess.
Yeah.
And it is one of our... we've got more than a few people chiming in and joining the conversation today. Feel free to do that, folks. Sorry, we don't have your name here. But the comment is Colorado has a significant number of people who do not believe in climate change. That is, in my mind, a shame. Yeah. Because we've got to start doing the hard work now that is going to support the future generations. And you're right, we're going to do it through science.
Mm-hmm.
Because we can't let another big asteroid hit us. We can't let a comet hit us. We've got to be able to, if we have the knowledge, the wisdom, the technology, we've got to be able to use it.
Yeah.
And again, there's not really anything we could have done to stop these fires. Now we use our technology to support those that have been affected by that.
Right. Right. And quite frankly, begin to do, which is what happens always when these happen, the city planners and the civil engineers and the architecture engineers will begin to do some Monday morning quarterback on. There's nothing we could do to stop the fire from happening when the winds blow over a power line. But is there something we can do in the way we design cities and in the way we set the infrastructure up in these areas to mitigate some of this, because that's how we get all our discoveries, right? Not all of them, but a lot of them. There's some disaster. There's something that is just unhinging for us to do, and someone with the great mind and the spark of the divine say, we have to figure out how to not let that happen again.
Right. Exactly. Now, folks, what can you do? People ask me this question all the time. What can we do? What can I do? Right? It all begins in our consciousness.
Yeah.
It all begins in our ability to say, okay, it's not really about what happened as much as it is what we do in response to what happens. So there are countless avenues throughout the internet. If you have the means and the financial means to contribute, please do. I would suggest going to 9 News and using their Colorado Gives button. They're going to leave that open, and they've made a pledge that 100% of all donations will get to the families that are involved. Personally, I don't give to big national organizations with big, huge overheads and where 10 cents out of every dollar ends up in the mission. I want to see, so that's me. We're going to encourage you to do what's right for you. If you're here in the local Colorado area and you'd like to do something, well, reach out to me. Maybe, come springtime, maybe we'll go build a house. Maybe, I'm sure there's going to be all kinds of projects available, opportunities. If you have the means and you want to give financially right now, please do so. As I said, I know I'm going through my closet and I'm going to find some stuff and get on Facebook or wherever and just start offering some stuff out and find those people that have lost it all. I'm sure I've got a suit that I ain't gonna wear again that'll fit somebody that needs to go back to work, or toys, stuffed animals, toys for kids right now. How many kids lost their Christmas yesterday?
Wow. Yeah.
And
it's a time, as we talked the other day on one of our programs about, New Year's resolutions, where now I think we talked about having visions. Now is a perfect moment in time to highlight this whole idea of visioning for ourselves and for our families and for our community and for our whole world on what we want this place to look like and how we want to interact with it, being the sentient beings, if you will, and the non-sentient, i.e. the rocks and the and of course, who's to say that they're not sentient? But we have to begin to look at this place that we are living in and floating in object space as one thing. We are one body, everything composed to make it itself. And we have to begin to act that way and to respond that way and to care that way and to love that way. Or else we will continue to have these splintering things that will tear us apart.
Yes. Very, very true. And, Z, you bring up a great point. It is important to be in the visioning process, to utilize visioning, to support visioning. And we've got an opportunity for you to do that here today. We're in the last 3 days of our visioning retreat, visioning series or experience for the year. Today, tomorrow, and Sunday, 12 noon, 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. Mountain Time. You can come check a visioning session. Come out and join us for a visioning session. All are welcome. No experience is necessary. And just drop us an email and let me know you need the link. And we do that privately in a private Zoom session. So people can see each other and share a little bit. So noon, 2 or 4 p.m. If you'd like the link, send us an email, ministertalk@ntmedia.org, ministertalk@ntmedia.org. That's also how you can get in touch with Z and I. Let us know what you'd like us to talk about in the coming year. Who would you like to see us have as a guest on this program? If you'd like to be a guest on this program, let us know, and we'll be happy to make sure that we get you the information. We had a great question. Is there an SOM or Unity Church in the affected area we can work through? Not directly. There is a community in Boulder Valley, Center for Spiritual Living, Boulder Valley. I don't know if they're doing anything directly. I don't know if it's a smaller community. I don't know if any of their folks have been directly affected. There is the Unity Church in Boulder. There's also another Unity Church that's out in that area, not as, and I'm trying to remember their name. But so there are a couple of Unity churches in that area. Colorado, it's interesting. That area is pretty much equidistant to where I live, to Boulder. It's not that far to Denver. It is pretty much Louisville, not so much, but Superior is definitely a bedroom suburban community. Louisville is a little bit more of a small town that's grown up inside of the area. So my point in all of that is we all travel around a lot. I was up that road, that back road up towards that area not that long ago. I've had my brakes done at the brake shop there because we know the guy that owns the Just Brakes there in that area. Things of that nature. So here, again, that's a great point. We'll keep looking, and if we find a verifiable church that's one of our New Thought communities that's doing this, yes, we'll let you know that. And if you would like to make that donation through us, please just leave a note that you'd like it to go to the fire support, and we will definitely find a good person, a good organization to put that money in their hands as well. So we'd be happy to do that and provide that opportunity as well.
Yeah.
Well,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I still keep coming back to hug your kids, hug the ones you love. Let's be grateful for what we have. And we know not everybody can come help everybody. And we know that there are things that happen in your communities. Yeah. And so serve where you can. Do what calls to your heart. Who knows? I've got this feeling like I just want to throw a bunch of shovels and rakes and implements of destruction in the back of my car and go on up there and say, who needs help? Who needs help?
Yeah.
I know that's not safe and I know it's not smart, but I know that's what's in my heart.
Right.
And so I'm going to go find an organization that will allow me to get out there and get my hands dirty and help some of these folks, whether it's today in the immediate recovery or whether it's in the coming weeks in the long-term recovery as well.
Yeah. Yeah. It's heart opening with this situation. It opens our hearts. It has an opportunity to open our hearts so that we can begin to see the connectedness of all life and they understand that, we have that song, your prayer is my prayer too. And also your pain is my pain too, because but for the grace of God, go I, I'll go you. And so hopefully this is gives everyone an opportunity to look deep into their heart now that it's open and figure out how do we become closer as humanity.
Yes. How do we express our oneness?
Yeah, and become our brothers and sisters keepers.
Yes. Yes. All right, folks. Well, we've effectively done it. Looking at the clock there, we have spent all of our allotted time here with you this morning, or just about. Do keep in mind it is a full day of programming here on New Thought Media Network. We've got coming up next is Be Your Own Hero with Sekou Wrights. In about 15 minutes. 8:15 is the morning prayers. 8:30 morning sip with Rev Melissa. 9 o'clock wake up, say thank you with Rev Steph. In the flow with Rev Skip at 11. And I will be back with And Now the Good News at 5 p.m. this evening. Come join us for a half hour of good news stories. We're doing the best of 2021 wrap up. Yes, there was some good news in 2021. We're going to do that wrap up show. And then Pastor Michael Mangus and the Friday Fireside Chat is at 6 o'clock Mountain Time. Be sure to join us for that. Somebody said, take sturdy gloves as well as tools. Yes, I will. I promise. So thank you for being with us, folks. Thank you for being a support of New Thought Media Network. Before we go, I would ask you to give me just one more minute and help us say thank you to our sponsors.
Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, for your continued support. Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown Atlanta, for your monthly contribution. Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, for your monthly contribution. And Suze Ajit, thank you for your very generous donation. And a special thanks to Hefferland Foundation for your generous technology grant. big shout out to all our committed donors.
And if you'd like to become part of our committed giving program, please check out the website ntmedia.org, click on the donate button, and add your name to the list of folks that financially support this network and make this happen, so we can continue to have conversations such as this and all the broadcasting we bring you throughout the week. All right, Z, we're not as far over time as we normally are, so final thoughts before we get out of here?
Go love someone, go hug someone, go support someone. I mean, that's the mantra for the day.
Yes. Go hug someone and go love someone. I love it. Till next time, folks. Peace.
Peace.